I'm Mike Sullivan.
And I'm Lauren Rosella Sullivan.
Very good, okay. And today we'd like to talk to you about the difference between swing path and swing plane and why this can be important to you, especially if you're slicing your driver. Part of the reason I made this video is because of the new Mevo Plus. It now is going to give you the opportunity to get, if you have this launch monitor, angle of attack, club path, all these extra parameters that I get on my more expensive Flightscope X3. All right, so that's the shot you've been talking about, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so it's interesting, you know, we were talking about doing this video today about explaining what's the difference between swing plane and swing path, and why do we talk about those two things separately? And then you were talking about, you'd be perfect because you're swinging way left with an open club face, right?
Right.
Okay, so this last shot we're looking at, this is swing number 4. You can see that your club path was 5.9 degrees left of the target, and your face to path, the number right above it, was 5.6 degrees right of the target. So it's really common that when people are swinging the club to the left of the target, their face is to the right of that path. So actually, if you swung the club 5.9 left, but your face was 5.6 open to that path, your face was actually pointing pretty much to the target, right?
Right.
Okay, so what's wrong with that?
Inconsistency?
Yes, absolutely. But what's your ball flight going to do if your club face is open to the path?
It's going to go to the right.
It's going to curve to the right because the spin axis of your ball will be tilted this way because the face is open relative to this path. And here's the thing that happens with this is most people hit their shorter clubs more consistently. And when you're hitting a short club, you don't see a lot of curvature. So when we look at like the ball flight that we see here, see that ball flight there? It didn't actually curve a whole heck of a lot if we replay it. Can we replay that? Yeah. So see, it didn't really curve a whole heck of a lot to the right, just a little teeny bit. Mm-hmm. Now, if you had less loft on the club, like your driver, the spin axis of the ball would have tilted instead of this much going to the right, way like that. So then you hit that ball that's that big old banana ball type of a slice.
Gotcha.
All right, but that's not really bringing up like the title of the video. The difference between
Swing path and
club path and swing plane.
Right.
So let's talk about that. So this hula hoop is going to represent our swing plane. Okay, we swing the club in like a circular fashion. So you'll notice how this hula hoop is pointed. I'm going to get it like parallel to my mat. So this hula hoop is pointed pretty much at our target. It's close. All right. So if someone were to swing the club, can I borrow that for a second? Don't worry, I won't swing hard, right? If someone were to swing the club like this, you would say, okay, you swung the club towards the target. And if I ask somebody, okay, so what was this swing path? They would say, oh, the swing path was 0 degrees right at the target. But that's not the right answer to the question. Because your swing path is defined as the direction the club is moving at the moment it makes contact with the ball. So if you don't make contact with the ball, there is no swing path. You with me on that? Mm-hmm. Okay, with me on that at home? All right, so now let's grab the hula hoop back. This is our swing plane. Okay, so if I swing the club, that's the dog, right? If I swing the club on this really nice looking swing plane, okay, and I'm hitting an iron, right? Let's change it this way. If I'm hitting an iron, when we hit an iron shot, do we want to hit the ball on the way down or the way up or right dead at the bottom?
Down.
On the way down. So when we hit that ball on the way down, the club is moving down, but look over here. So that club is traveling down in which direction, Lauren?
To the right.
To the right. All right? So if I swing the club, if my swing plane, right, your plane is basically the shape of your swing where that's going. It's a horizontal number towards a target. If my swing plane is pretty much at the target, we'll say it's dead at the target. My swing plane is 0. Horizontal swing direction 0. But I hit down on the ball, my path will be in to out or to the right. Okay? So whenever this happens all the time. We have people who feel pretty good about their irons, and one of the reasons they feel good about the irons, we already talked about it. Come on in the video here. One of the reasons why people feel good about their irons, especially the short ones, is because of what we talked about a second ago. They've got a lot of loft on the club. So when you have a lot of loft, if your face is open or closed to the path, the ball won't spin, the spin axis won't tilt as much. So it's going to be a much straighter ball flight than a stronger club.
And if I'm looking at that shot without the flight scope, without that data, I'm thinking, wow, I hit that pretty good.
You're thinking you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And you groove it. Mm-hmm. Then what happens when you get to your driver?
Slice the heck out of it.
Banana ball. Okay? So one of the things that happens with those irons is, yes, you get more loft so everything looks straighter. Okay? But check out something else here. What happens if you make this nice looking swing from here to here, but you don't transfer weight into your front foot very well? Or maybe down at impact, you kind of let the club flip past you and scoop a little bit? You may hit the ball sometimes on the way up. And when you hit the ball on the way up, there's down, there's up. Now which way is the club going?
To the left.
It's going left. So your swing plane is going dead at the target. But if you catch the ball on the way up, you now are going to have an out to in swing path.
Which I caught that my angle of attack was up on that.
You caught them on the way up. Yeah, so when we look at those numbers, so you swung the club, this H swing number, that horizontal swing direction, you swung the club 4.7 degrees to the left, but you hit up on it 2 degrees. So your path was even farther left than your swing direction. Okay. Now I've seen a lot of people who their angle of attack fluctuates a lot. Mm-hmm. Weight transfer reasons, ball position inconsistencies, all this stuff. And because their angle of attack fluctuates, they can swing the club on pretty much the same swing plane, but their path is going to fluctuate. And their ball flight's going to fluctuate. Okay? So there is definitely a difference between swing path, which is a thing that is really a combination of swing direction and angle of attack, or swing plane and angle of attack. And then there is your swing plane on its own. Now, the thing about the swing plane is you can stand behind a golfer. So for example, I'm going to grab that club again, right? You can stand back behind a golfer and tell, what is my swing plane? Which way is it going? Yeah, how about this one?
To the right.
To the right. So that's the thing that you can see. But if you're getting confused by your ball flight, your angle of attack may be presenting some problems here. Okay? So, you know, the ball flight flies how it flies based on the path and the club face, the angle of attack and all that. But what you can visually see is really more like the swing plane. Okay, so here's a stumper for you. Driver. So let's grab a driver. Okay, good. All right, so now you've got a driver. Let's move that iPad out of the way. And let's just say I'm hitting my irons pretty good. Even my long irons, 5-iron, 4-iron, they're pretty good. Drawing it. And then all of a sudden, I hit the driver. I even see myself on video, and it looks like my swing plane is going straight at the target, or even a little bit teeny bit to the right of the target. But the ball is slicing with the driver. What could cause that? It all looks good, but now I'm slicing the driver.
I'm stumped.
Yeah, you're stumped, okay? Angle of attack.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? So do you want to hit up or down with the driver?
Up.
Most everybody wants to hit up with it. So with that driver, I'm making the same exact swing as the iron, right? But I'm catching the ball now. Now I'm going dead at the target, and I'm at the bottom of my swing. So my path is 0, my swing plane is 0. But if I catch it on the way up a little bit, Now the path's going out to in, and now I can hit pulls and I can hit slices. All right, and I have seen in a given session with some pretty good golfers, I have seen that angle of attack fluctuate a little bit. So we have people who feel like, I don't understand why I'm not getting consistent results. And a lot of it has to do with that angle of attack is fluctuating quite a bit, and it's kind of throwing them off track.
Okay, so how do they fix it?
Okay, what would be the first thing that would be the easiest thing to check to have a consistent angle of attack?
It's like a flight scope?
Before that, to set someone up for success, ball position.
Okay, ball position.
So consistently, you want to make sure you have the same ball position. And what I would recommend with that is I would recommend putting down an alignment stick or a golf club, right? And you can just put it down right between your feet so that every time that you set up to a ball, you can see the ball up right here, you're going to know that you've got that nice consistent ball position every time. Okay? And with your driver, it's going to be quite a bit further forward in your stance because you want to catch it on the way up. With your shortest clubs, you're going to want it about in the middle of your stance. Now you're still going to move forward a little bit, and that's going to help you hit down the ball a little bit. But if you're inconsistent with your ball position, you should be inconsistent with your angle of attack. All right, so that's the number one thing. Then what you want to make sure you're doing is you want to make sure you're moving weight into your front foot. You're hitting golf shots the way that you would throw a ball, things like that. So the real purpose of the video is to give you, well, I hate to say it, but to explain to you a little bit as to why it's hard to get these consistent results, right? Another thing, there's something else that could happen that could cause one swing to hit a slice and the next swing to hit a hook, and that could be where you make contact on the club face. So balls that hit the toe are going to want to hook. Balls that hit the heel are going to want to slice. All right, so there's a bunch of little variables here, and what I would recommend is set up consistently, use some sorts of alignment sticks to make sure you can have a consistent setup, use a video camera, and what we do with our cameras, we have this set up more for recording like a YouTube video than swing analysis, but you want to have the camera down the target line so that the lens is basically pointing right here at your hands, and you want to try to get it squared up so that the actual camera itself is perpendicular to the target line. Did I say that in a way that makes sense? It's like you don't want the camera cocked off to the right or cocked off to the left. You want it straight down here, right behind your hands, and that's going to give you the best view of that swing plane. All right? Make sense to you?
Yes.
All right, hope it makes sense to you. Any questions, put a comment in there. But hopefully this just explains a little bit of the complexity that we get and that we see. And just remember, visually, it's really hard to see the swing path, but it's a lot easier to see the swing plane on the way down. All right? I hope that helps. See you next time.